Eurondans. Species, human. Eurondan. Plant, formerly Euronda, currently New Euronda. Address, unknown. Status, hostile. Compiled by Captain Rodriguez. You'd think being stuck in a collapsing bunker with enemy forces approaching your position would get rid of any threat. Unfortunately, it appears not. Like an unwelcome blast from the past, the Eurondans seem to be back. Since that first encounter, teams from SGC and Pheonix Site encountered Enemy X several times. That's an assessment not made on visual confirmation, but tactics and weaponry. Pheonix 1 was the first team to make visual contact, and we recognized the Eurondans by their style of dress. Technically, our orders were strictly to observe, but they spotted us just as we saw them, and one thing led to another. The information below is courtesy of the Eurondan we questioned. The so-called breeder attack on the Eurondan bunker reduced the entrance to rubble, making it difficult for their forces to get inside. This gave the Eurondans time to dial a new gate address and make their escape, albeit without Alar, who was already particle dust on SGC's Iris. From what Donar, our Eurondan prisoner, told us, they had a very rough time in immediate aftermath. The galaxy is full of inhabited planets and hostile species, nor were the Eurondans willing to settle on a pre-industrial world and start from scratch. Eventually, they came upon a planet with ruins from a once promising civilization. They named it New Euronda. We pressed Donar for the gate address, but he resisted. As my team isn't versed in interrogation and we had another Eurondan patrol closing on our position, we tabled that question and pressed for the rest of the story instead. The Eurondans don't know why the previous occupants abandoned the planet. Perhaps they failed the social leap to advanced technology. Either way, the technology they left gave the Eurondans footholds to incorporate their own. Donar refused to share the details but said, "We remain technologically vastly superior to you." After deliberation, the new Eurondans sent a team back to Euronda. They found many cryogenic chambers intact. We'd have to go back to Euronda to investigate why the breeders left the cryogenic units. Perhaps they never made it into the bunker. Closing off the air supply is undoubtedly easier and less risky. The new Eurondan scout team found vast numbers of empty but intact cryopods, which they moved to New Euronda and reanimated. We know this because Donar gleefully told us of their superior numbers. Here's where I get to the really bad news. They hate the Tari. I won't repeat Donar's rather speculative and somewhat incoherent rant, but it comes down to the fact we abandoned them to the breeders, that we are genetically impure. I informed him I am 100% Puerto Rican, but I don't think that's the kind of purity he meant. Our teams running into them isn't a coincidence either. They're actively visiting planets where they expect SCG teams to be, in an effort to obtain a remote and gain access to Earth. They intend to conquer Earth as the land of their forebears. I don't know if they've caught on to the existence of the Pheonix Site, but Donar probably noticed our insignia. If so, they might try and take the Pheonix Site as a first foothold in their attack on Earth. At this point, the 2nd Eurondan Patrol uncovered our location. I considered taking Donar back to the Pheonix Site, but decided against it. Neither SGC nor Pheonix Site is equipped to detain an alien prisoner for long periods, and I'm hesitant about handing anyone over to the NID. While we had checked Donar for weapons, I also felt our search wasn't as extensive as it should be with people willing to use biological weapons. Unleashing a plague only takes one Eurondan volunteer to be taken to Earth. On that note, I'm writing this report from the quarantine unit. Here's hoping I'm alive when SGC reads this. Update to file. I've released Pheonix 1 from quarantine. They were free of diseases save for Brevel, who is the common cold again. Captain Rodriguez's notion of quarantining teams after a close contact with the Eurondan is sensible, and I've since updated the protocols. The Eurondan leadership SG-1 encountered seemed to prioritize self-preservation, but we don't know how badly they've poisoned their newly awakened members against us. Dr. Tekerumbar.